Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us on your lunch break. Welcome to the 2020 West Volusia Means Business State of the Region, hosted by the DeLand Area Chamber of Commerce and Orange City Alliance. I'd like to take a moment, first of all, to thank all of our sponsors that made today possible. Our presenting sponsors are Advent Health, Cobb Cole Law Firm, Family Health Source. Our premier sponsors are the Center at Deltona, Joe Hearn Events, Launch Credit Union, and our partner sponsors, Clements Law, DeLand Motorsports, Main Street Community Bank, Page Insurance Agency, Quality Quickprint, Rome Media Marketing, and the West Volusia Beacon. I'd like to get right to it and introduce the mayors who are joining us today from West Volusia. In the city of DeLand, we have Mayor Robert Apgar. City of DeBary, Mayor Karen Chazet. City of Deltona, Mayor Heidi Hertzberg. City of Orange City, Mayor Gary Blair. The City of Lake Helen, we have Mayor Daisy Raisler. Thank you all for joining us. We will take a moment right now to play the 3-minute introduction that each city has provided for us today.
Welcome to the City of DeBary. Our city is on the cusp of an exciting new time in our history. We're embarking on a two-pronged effort of correcting long-standing issues while simultaneously creating innovative concepts incorporating our unique assets. A historic riverfront city with the only Sunrail stop in Volusia County, straddling Volusia and Seminole counties, with a host of ecotourism activities. Our demographics, moderate tax climate, and low crime rate all contribute to making DeBary a great place to live, work, and play. In 2016, we established a transit-oriented development overlay by integrating our residents' vision of a main street and our close-knit community values into a plan for an urban, walkable community. City Manager Carmen Rosamonda will now take you on a quick tour and show you everything DeBary has to offer. More than you imagined.
We are excited to show where we are today. Our city of 21,000 is expected to grow to approximately 28,000 over the next 2 to 3 years. Our transit-oriented development is already underway. We have 439 residents coming in right now. The Junction, a mixed-use community, has nearly 289 apartments completed, the majority occupied, and ground is about to be broken on 150 single-family homes. Quickly following will be built-out commercial spaces, including a grocery store. Immediately surrounding the TOD, we have nearly 1,500 homes in various stages of development. Riviera Bella is adding 293 homes, many already sold. Next door to that, 256 homes at River Bend have been approved, and another 700 at Rivington, and 195 at Springview Woods already under construction. DeBary is the ecotourism hub of Volusia. With 12 parks, including gorgeous Gemini Springs, residents and visitors are never more than 1 mile away from kayaking, boat launches, camping, bike trails, passive and active sports facilities, and more. In fact, DeBary is the trailhead for 3 of Florida's major trails, Coast to Coast, St. Johns River to Sea, and the Heart of Florida. Bicyclists can get on the trail in DeBary and bike to St. Petersburg, Titusville, or St. Augustine. All of this activity will surround our Main Street. Main Street will be the heart of our community, bringing together residents and visitors in a mixed-use development with boutique shops and restaurants. Located across the street from Sunrail, Main Street will proffer modern urban living with small hometown culture and feel. It will provide an ideal location for many events, festivals, and other entertainment options for our residents to enjoy. The development will embrace the growing work-from-home trend with modern multifamily units designed to let residents have everything they need in one location. With exciting restaurants, stores, and activities, Main Street will have it all. Our growth has been well thought out with community input and takes into account our strong sense of pride in our town, community loyalty, and a clear vision future of DeBary. These features makes us unique community, offering small town living in an urban environment and a focus on ecotourism. We look forward to hosting you so you can experience all that we have to offer. DeBerry, naturally, more than you imagined.
First, thanks to the Chamber for hosting this event, and congratulations to Deltona on Amazon's opening. That's a lot of jobs for West Volusia and beyond. The pandemic created a lot of challenges for our business community and city government. Like others, our city faced significant revenue losses, but our new budget didn't include any layoffs or reduction in service levels. We have tried to be creative during the pandemic to help our businesses, particularly downtown. Examples are temporary takeout parking spaces and closing a couple of streets on Friday and Saturday nights for outdoor dining. Despite the pandemic, our downtown occupancy rate is 97%. All of our fall events were canceled, but we are re-examining ways to host some events downtown. Here are a few of our successes over the last year or so. Aldi opened in Gateway Village earlier this year. A second Aldi is planned for the West Volusia Regional Shopping Center. The Holiday Inn Express opened in Country Club Corners. Several other businesses began operations there, including Kiki, Orange Theory Fitness, and Morning Star Storage, to name a few. Downtown, the Glass House project is moving forward on the old jail site. We are currently working on the project's plan development agreement. Glass House will be the headquarters for DelTran. The main building will be 2 or 3 stories with approximately 10,000 square feet on each floor. At the airport, the entry road from Highway 11 to Easton Drive has been engineered. It will provide additional access to our Northwest Airport Industrial Park. The first phases of our Sport Aviation Village are done. Sites are ready for tenants, plus 20 T-hangars will be available there. The Matusik Airport Management Center is fully operational and is our airport's front door. Also, we've made airport runway improvements. DeLand is experiencing a lot of residential growth and construction. We've recently enhanced our software, allowing 24-hour access to submit, track, and schedule permitting and inspection activity. Reports indicate a lot of our new residents are commuters from other Central Florida areas, as comparable housing prices here are considerably less. Along 472, Ford Properties is working with Duke Energy, governmental partners, and Team Volusia on a 472 site readiness plan. Duke will use the plan to market the property to national site selectors. In conclusion, DeLand works hard to be business friendly, to grow smart, to encourage business retention, expansion, and recruitment, and to provide high-quality services at an affordable price to our community. DeLand wants to be where people want to live, work, and play. I'm very proud of our city. Thank you.
Hello, I am Daisy Raisler, Mayor for the City of Lake Helen, the city known as the Gem of Florida. I thank the DeLand Area Chamber of Commerce and Orange City Alliance for hosting the State of Region Address. I am honored to serve among neighboring mayors of West Volusia who've shown dedication and steadfastness through these unprecedented times. Lake Helen is located immediately off Interstate 4 in between Orlando and Daytona Beach. If you go too fast, you may miss us. Founded by Henry DeLand and named after his daughter, the city was intended as one of the prettiest and most pleasant towns in Florida. To this day, Lake Helen preserves a small-town charm with its historic homes and churches nestled among tree-lined roads. When we talk about quality of life, the conversation usually turns to our silent asset, our park system, the hub for many family gatherings and activities, and worth investing for future generations. We've updated our park equipment at Blake Park, invested in shoreline trees at our namesake lake at Royal Park. Next year, with a generous donation, we will build a pavilion along with picnic benches at Macy Park. We also have upgraded park equipment at Melissa Park. We're looking to add football, soccer field at Mitchell Sports Complex and improve our equestrian fitness trailhead. We have a variety of schools in our city, and our downtown master plan aims to create a low-key, quaint, but active-filled downtown area with detached 1 to 2 story buildings to attract a diverse area of shops and stores. As our neighboring cities celebrate growth, we also have experienced steady build-out of the woods of Lake Helen, and we look forward to continued progress in our industrial district on the West End. Many people pay big money to escape from light pollution, sound pollution, from cookie-cutter homes built on top of each other. For over 2,700 residents, Lake Helen is that escape that we call home. Driving through Lake Helen, one can't help but sense old Florida. Our citizens have a strong sense of community, and we're very fortunate to have volunteers who demonstrate a deep love for our community, giving their own time to serve neighborhoods and serve our city boards. It is imperative that we use our comprehensive plan as a guidepost in the years to come. In closing, there's a balance. It takes collaboration and engagement. We have to make sure that what's best for the city and community is part of every decision we make. We all should rise together on the same high tide. Public service is a calling and a passion. Our city staff is committed to providing outstanding quality of life. I want to thank all our staff from City Administration, Public Works, and Police Department, along with all our citizens of Lake Helen, and commend them for the value they place for the common good. As you can see, the state of our city is strong today, and I invite you to come for a visit. You might end up calling it home, as many of us have.
Good morning. First of all, I'd like to thank the Chamber for finding a way to make the state of the region happen. With everything going on today, I realize it's quite difficult. I think it's important for us to come together in a safe manner to share what is going on in our communities and work together. I never turn down an opportunity to talk about Orange City and all the great things that we have going on. We consider ourselves the heart of Southwest Volusia and have so much to offer the community. The Mill Lake Park Continuum, which encompasses Mill Lake, Veterans Memorial Park, Coleman Park, Holly Avenue, and Dickinson Park, was recently selected as a finalist for the Great Places in Florida Award. We will find out next week if we win. Fingers crossed. In addition to our great parks, we have a top-rated fire department and police department. And we all know that public safety is so vital. Our utilities department has been working hard upgrading our infrastructure and water distribution systems, and we recently completed our first CRA project, a complete overhaul of the Holly Avenue, a historic part of Orange City. Now Holly Avenue and surrounding areas will have access to sanitary sewer, reclaimed water, and storm water. And it looks great too. With paver medallions and plantings, the streetscape makes the area shine. Drive through there sometime. It's one block off of 1792 on the east side and right south of City Hall on Graves. When it comes to commercial businesses, our development services staff is giving their all, taking an integrated approach to allow for smart growth. We strive to enhance the quality of life in Orange City for residences, businesses, and visitors, and create new opportunities for all. Thank you very much for having me today, and I will see y'all later. Bye.
like a bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here, I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together, it's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Sometimes you need to go and take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell.
Thank you all, and again, mayors, thank you all for joining us. 2020 continues to throw us curveballs. I regret that we cannot all be in person for our lunch this year, but thanks so much for taking time to spend your afternoon with us. And let's get right to it with the questions, and we're going to start off with Mayor Apgar. We're now more than 6 months deep into the coronavirus pandemic. How would you describe the impact on your city's ability to serve your citizens and carry out all the basic government actions?
As I mentioned in the video, DeLand listened to and responded quickly to the needs of our downtown businesses, such as with takeout parking and allowing outdoor dining on a couple of streets. The commission provided some limited ability to serve open container alcohol. On a different front, we offered all of our customers relief on water bills, bill payment plans, and waived late fees. Also, city tenants were offered payment relief for a while with repayments over time. We've been able to perform most of our functions fairly normally, but we did need to cut some costs, particularly in the public works area. This led to some reductions in median maintenance and beautification type work. Some things that we were trying to do were delayed during April and May because of no meeting ability, but overall, DeLand fared fairly well. As I mentioned earlier, our new budget starts today, and we have no layoffs or service reductions, but we did have to avoid adding some needed positions, and some things were deferred. That's pretty much how we've tried to respond.
Thank you, Mayor. And our friends in DeBerry, tell us about your response in 2020.
Well, we haven't seen very much curtailment of services. We did take several weeks during April and part of May to understand what was going on. And so during that time, those who were coming in for permits had to make an appointment at City Hall. We dropped that fairly rapidly and moved back to normal City Hall operations with protections for staff and for the public, asking them to wear masks and putting up some barriers. As far as the city operations, we did not face any need to adjust services or staff through the entire time. We did support our businesses by making sure that initially that we made some adjustments, as Mayor Apgar had mentioned, about dining outside and similar things in DeBerry to encourage businesses who had suffered a loss of business when they were closed by state orders. And we were able to keep our businesses afloat. And then as soon as the federal money flowed through the county, we had a very active outreach to all of our businesses. Our businesses are small businesses, and city staff was able to to reach out to virtually all of them to make them aware of avenues where they could get some money to assist them during the downtime. So we really have emerged fairly unscathed as far as services to our community, and for that we're very grateful.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Hertzberg.
Thank you. So the city of Deltona was able to maintain its ability to service our residents throughout the pandemic. And we had some restrictions like all of our municipalities did. We had City Hall closed to appointments only for about 3 months. We also closed other city facilities, our center and some of our parks, and then gradually went through a step-by-step reopening of that. What we did identify is our technology needed upgrading, and we did upgrade that, and we are continuing to upgrade that to have the ability to, should something like this happen in the future, to have virtual meetings, to allow more employees to work from home. We did not have that ability during this pandemic, and now looking forward, we could see that that is something that we needed to step up and really work on our technology and allow residents to be able to participate from their home and so forth in a virtual setting. So hopefully we won't have this incident again, but as time goes on, you don't know. And we also gave our residents relief with water bills by not charging any late fees. We had no cutoffs. That actually continues now. We are working on our residents being able to access any type of rent relief, mortgage relief that was offered not only through community development block grant funding, but also through the generosity of Volusia County.
Thanks, Mayor. I think all local governments, businesses, citizens, we all were due for a technology upgrade that we learned about over the last few months. Orange City, Mayor Blair.
Orange City is very resilient because of the teamwork that our staff exhibits, along with the direction of City Manager Dale Arrington. A good portion of our staff is housed in our beautiful City Hall circa 1926. The old building makes for tight quarters for staff, and social distancing is difficult. Therefore, early in the pandemic, we had 60 to 70% of our employees working from home. Although there was a learning curve, it was seamless from the public's perspective. Only a few major projects were slowed down a little bit, but with flexibility on both sides, things kept moving forward. We have come out of this with no backlog of projects. We also relaxed our billing policies in our water department to help our customers in need. The City Council kept our regular meetings as well as our budget meetings on schedule by doing so virtually. We also canceled our 4th of July celebration and got statewide recognition for donating our fireworks money to a local food bank. Orange City cares for its residents in difficult times.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Raisler?
Thank you. Like many of our cities here, it was definitely unprecedented activity for all of us. And I could say that our staff really stepped up to the task. And I don't know if it's because of the hurricane, but hurricanes that we experienced in Florida. So it's like our staff was really quick. They took expeditious action. We're very small staffed, so immediately we had to take all the measures that we needed to do, not only to ensure that our citizens were safe, but as well as our staff. So we had our services at City Hall were maintained all through appointments. Permitting still was there. All the services were available through appointments. Our parks were closed, and we also helped our citizens through giving them a break with our utility billing as well. And the other thing that I thought was really great was, not thought, but definitely was really great, was the help that we received from our Volusia County Council and our governor. So we were able to use technology as far as social media to reach the citizens and keep them informed about all these grants and services that were available as far as mortgage assistance, utility assistance. So I wanted to tell you that the other thing was the collaboration among all our local municipalities and the mayors that are here present was really helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. And we will stay with you, Mayor Raisler, for the next question. Since we last met, the sales tax for road improvements and water improvements has come and gone on the ballot, and it was voted down by voters countywide. How are you dealing with the ever-growing infrastructure maintenance and improvement needs in your city?
Well, I've learned that whether you're a small city or a big city, the infrastructure is a very key element for your community. And this budget, whether you're a small city or a large city, those are very costly projects. And what we are doing now is, as we address those, is looking forward to the future to develop a roadwork master plan so that we can identify the key projects and handle it as it comes for now, until we can unify again with this cause again. So thank you.
Mayor Blair, Orange City.
The day-to-day maintenance is going fine. It's the major projects on arterial and collector roads that will be slowed down or not come forward due to lack of funding that would have been provided by the sales tax. And that funding could also have been used on other projects other than roads, like water quality enhancement projects. In Orange City, we're moving forward with a roundabout on Levitt in Rhode Island Avenues, as well as the Big French multi-use trail from Valentine Park to the Spring to Spring Trail by the entrance of Blue Springs State Park.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Hertzberg.
Yes, thank you. We're continuing in Deltona to prioritize our infrastructure needs and take advantage of available grants and funding through multiple resources, including the TPO, FDOT, and the state revolving fund loans. In the 2020-2021 budget, the general fund has increased spending on road repaving by $500,000 to bring that up to $1 million this year to work on the repaving of our over 500 miles of roads. This is a small fraction of what's needed to maintain the infrastructure, and as our city continues to grow, we're continuing to work with developers, both residential and commercial, to help with the installation of new infrastructure and the expansion of infrastructure. So as all of our cities know in our county, it's a big challenge, but collaboration between multiple agencies, development, and neighboring cities works the best, and that helps all of us.
Thank you. Mayor Chavez.
Well, in DeBary, we have both roads and water needs. DeBary has had flooding issues for many years, and our residents in some of the older areas that are still suffering from flooding in their backyards when lakes reach a high level had been waiting for many years. So a year ago, we increased the millage just to accelerate those projects, and we were able to use a specific amount of funds raised by millage a year ago to move forward on some very long delayed projects. So we had that advantage, not knowing what 2020 would bring, that we were already prioritizing through that 1 year only increase in the millage. And the increase was to 3.5, which still was the lowest millage rate for our area. We are back at 2.9247 this year, as we had promised. And we have in recent years taken money that has been available after the audit and reassigned it to road paving. And in addition to that, we have a lot of development, as you will have seen in the video, and more to come around the Sunrail. And we have a lot of road improvements that are built into that with agreements that we have with developers. You will soon see a traffic light many years on the wish list at Fort Florida and 1792, for example. And that road will be.
Oh, we lost you on mute.
That road will be.
Good, but we were at 90 seconds.
Okay, that road will be continued. So we are prioritizing what we have. We could go faster if we had had the half-cent taxes.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Apgar?
Well, the first thing I'd like to say is I think all of us would agree that we all have backlogs and infrastructure needs, and it's virtually impossible to play catch up with current levels of revenue, and that's something in the future, whether it's federal money or otherwise, we're all going to need help to play catch up on that. But having said that, as others have said, the infrastructure sales tax was basically for roads, flooding, and water quality. For us, the big problem has always been roads. Last year, the commission did reprioritize some funds to road resurfacing, increasing it by almost 100% to $500,000. Our goal is to try to get that to $750,000. A lot of roads in DeLand or serving DeLand are county or state roads that we don't really have a lot of say in when they're going to become maintained. As far as water quality and stormwater, we have separate enterprise funds to take care of those, and so we were able to continue those projects pretty much as planned, based on the revenue streams that were already there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and we'll stay with you to start the answers to the next question. The COVID epidemic has affected different sectors of local economies in different ways, but people continue to move to West Volusia from Orlando, from South Florida, and from out of state. It's great to live in cities where people want to move, a desirable place to live, but it puts a lot of strain on local government. What message would you like to send to potential developers and to your residents about potential future growth in your city? Is it an attitude of open arms or not so fast?
As I mentioned to you before, this is my really long answer. First, the commercial. On October 27th, the DeLand City Commission and Planning Board are going to have a joint meeting to discuss revisions to our existing 2050 visioning plan. And often when we have public hearings, we hear about what we said in our comp plan or our 2050 visioning plan, both for people for the project and against the project. So I would encourage citizens to participate in that process. Two things that I think are important to put in context related to the City of DeLand's answer to that question. One, we have a water and sewer service agreement with Volusia County. Under the terms of that agreement, we agree to supply water within an area, and we have the right to annex it. We gave up the right to charge a surcharge in exchange with that. The other thing that's unique to DeLand, we have a one-of-a-kind greater DeLand area that says what DeLand is and what it will be. Having said that, to basically now answer the question, DeLand is open for business, but each project will be carefully and thoughtfully examined. This is truly what I've told a lot of developers. Right now, our city commission is struggling with density issues. The commission agrees we want quality development and likes the use of tie-in development agreements for flexibility. If a project involves annexation, we like to move forward with the annexation because we've got to provide water, as I alluded to before, and we would prefer being the development approval authority rather than Volusia County. We'd like to shape what that development's going to look like in our community. Because if we do not annex that property, we're still going to get a lot of the burdens, but none of the revenue from that growth in the DeLand area. So in conclusion, I guess what I'd say, our commission as a collegial body tries to find ways to find as much common ground as we can on every development that gives us a quality development that generally fits the surrounding area, provides appropriate protection so development is a good neighbor and its impacts are appropriately addressed. Thank you.
I would say you did a pretty good job keeping it to as close to 90 seconds as you could there,
Yeah,
Mayor.
well, I cut out a part of it, so.
I'll give everybody a little leeway on this one. How about DeBerry? How's DeBerry dealing with growth? It's always a two-sided coin. It's great and it's a big problem at other times too.
Well, at the current time, we are doing the build out of developments that are many years in the making. And so we can say DeBerry is open for business because we have new commercial and retail places coming. And we can say it's open for new residents because we have about 1,000 single family homes currently being constructed. And if they're currently being constructed, you know, we worked through these projects years ago because they don't just happen on a dime. So we are focusing a lot of our development activity around the Sunrail, which you will have seen, in the video that we provided at the beginning. And one very exciting project is right across from the Sunrail, and the city is taking the lead in developing a main street where there will be retail and commercial on the first floor and multifamily dwellings above, and it will be walkable and have public spaces. And across the street from that, we have the junction. The apartments are finished. I think they got their final CO. The single family residences, including carriage house kinds of homes, will be breaking ground soon. We have 700 homes on Fort Florida and Barwick, where the first part of that development will have a sales facility up by the end of the year. That's 700 homes. And we also still have homes being sold in Riviera Bella's units 8 and 9 and Springview Woods, which is behind our Springview. So we welcome people who want to relocate to Florida and have a fabulous lifestyle. They can come to DeBary. One thing that we are keying in on is the uniqueness of DeBary near the Sunrail, where the 3 trails all come together. We have we're going to focus on ecotourism. We have primitive camping, we have biking, we have the river for canoeing, we have trails and trails, both private and the large trails that converge there. So it's a very exciting time.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Hertzberg?
Thank you. So as everyone knows, Deltona was pretty much one big subdivision with a lot of single family individual homes, not that many planned communities, and we also have very little commercial. So looking to the future for development, we, like a lot of the other municipalities, are also having to find that balance of too much growth too fast. With 1,000 people a day moving into the state of Florida, we're all poised to grow as other counties shrink the land that they have available for both commercial and residential growth. And for us, it is about managed development. And it's my belief that strong communities are built on the foundation of strong local economies. And to me, what that means is that we welcome development, but it also has to be responsible residential and commercial development that takes into account the infrastructure and the challenges that we have. And I think by looking at, we need more multifamily. We're looking at, hopefully bringing in some apartment buildings, some townhomes, because that's something that our city lacks. And our commercial base with the corridor on North Normandy and the Amazon area and Portland Industrial Park is poised to grow with distribution. And I think that entire interchange is poised to explode on both either side. So we definitely welcome development. It needs to be managed in a responsible way that allows us to still have environmental access and ecotourism, but also helps the struggling residential tax base that we have.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Blair, tell me about growth in Orange City.
Well, we welcome both. We want to welcome people with open arms and also not so fast. But there's a fine line between the two. Using a balanced approach, we want our existing residents to be engaged and maintain the sense of neighborly Orange City, the reason why they have moved here or stayed over the years. While meeting the infrastructure needs with smart planning, we do not want to become what some of our neighboring counties have become. This is possible with cooperation from local cities, Volusia County. So, in the words of the Welsh composer, Joseph Perry, we want to make new friends, but keep the old. Those are silver, these are gold.
I would have taken long odds on a Welsh composer quote in today's event, and you would have delivered. Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Raisler, Lake Helen has taken a pretty consistent and long-term approach on growth, and has been very defined in its boundaries. Tell me how you manage growth within the city of Lake Helen, keeping its unique charm.
Well, that's a good statement right there. Thank you. The way that I see it, we are that sweet spot where Mayberry meets the New Century. And I'd say that we'd like to continue the philosophy of not so fast. I believe that as we approach the push from other cities and the developers looking for those opportunities to bring more housing, I'd say that we welcome these developers if they're willing to take an alternative challenge. The city has taken bold steps towards what I would call our future and the next chapter of Lake Helen, in as much that we've taken initial steps by creating a downtown master plan, and we have in the works for this coming budget looking at our directing our efforts towards developing our Gateway Commercial District master plan. So we do cherish our history and would like to preserve our small town charm for the future generations to enjoy while managing that growth responsibly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and we will stick with you as we go through the next question. Name one good thing and one bad thing that Tallahassee has tried to implement during session this year.
Well, the good thing, and again, this is kind of a very theme for us here in Lake Helen, I think throughout Florida and hopefully throughout the nation, was the bill for the Clean Waterways Act. Really happy to see that came through, and it's really showing that the leaders in our state really respect and are focused on that clean water as a top priority. Specifically with the moving of the regulation from the Department of Health over to the Department of what is it called, the DEP, and all those other things that are coming with that. So I really believe that was a great move for us here in Tallahassee. Now going on the other side, the other bill that I personally was monitoring was the home-based business bill, which I think was House Bill 537, and looking at how the future is so uncertain, and trying to, I guess they were trying to push through taking away the city's small business home-based business licensing, and as we all can see, that bill didn't it died somewhere in March. So those are my takes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Blair, what's your take on Tallahassee this year?
First, the good. The state did some really good things in relationship to the environment, water in particular, Lake Okeechobee restoration, spring restoration, and here locally, the Blue Spring Basin. Our District 26 state representative got a line item put into the state budget specific to Orange City, septic to sewer nutrient reduction, which makes up $500,000 available for conversions, helping to limit the nutrient levels going into the Blue Spring Basin. The state is also a partner in the Volusia Blue project, turning the old borough pit off of French Avenue into wetlands restoration, again, reducing the nutrient flow into Blue Spring. The bad, the state continually tries to take away our home rule powers, which has far-reaching effects. Proposed in 1968, the constitutional revision was adopted by the citizens of Florida, and then after several legal challenges, the legislature adopted the Home Rule Act in 1973. The state is attempting to hamper our impact fees, take many of our revenue streams, enacting tree rules, and even our ability to regulate food trucks in our own communities. They want to tell us what they think is best for our cities. We as locals know what is best for our citizens. So please support Home Rule.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Hertzberg.
Thank you. I'm going to start with the bad first. So the bill that I saw as being a really bad bill that Tallahassee pushed through this past session was the tree pruning, trimming, or removal on residential property bill. And the reason I say that specifically is it not being a good bill is it was a bill that was very much done on one incident that happened in one legislator's hometown area. And when the legislature goes through and addresses such a specific bill with very vague wording, you already start having lawsuits come up, and the thing hasn't been out there that long. You will have lawsuits, you will have challenges, and you can't, as a lawmaker, you can't take your personal issues and put them forward into something that representatives and municipalities and governments across the state have to now find a way to implement. And that's one example. It happens other times, but that's definitely an example of bad legislation. And the good legislation, as the other mayors have talked about, is definitely the Clean Water Wakes Act and the appropriations of $625 million toward water resources. And I agree. I think that shows that the state is realizing what a commodity water is and how integral it is in our sustenance of the future of the state. We require it for just growth and ecotourism. And I think that at this point, the legislature is really, and the governor as well, because he was pushing for funding, continual funding every year. And unfortunately, that was not granted. This was a one-shot deal. We'll see what this year does. But I think that they're realizing without clean water and without springs restoration and septic to sewer, the state's going to have a lot more infrastructure issues down the road as we continue to grow.
Thank you, Mayor. And through DeBerry's eyes, what's the good and bad in Tallahassee this year?
Well, I have to agree with two of my fellow mayors that the Clean Waterways Act was really important this year. A year ago, you said, what did Tallahassee get wrong? And I said they didn't pass legislation that moved the regulation of septic fields from DOH to DEP, and this year they did, and that's in that bill, along with many other things. I also have to give the legislature kudos for including a line item appropriation for DeBerry to help us with replacing some 25-year-old corrugated stormwater pipes. I'm not sure why they allowed that, but they are rusting through and collapsing. And we got $300,000 help. Now we need more help. You know, these are things that we inherited and in some cases didn't even know they had been installed until they began collapsing. And then the water flows down the streets and it flows then towards the springs. It's a problem. So we appreciate that. I would say one other thing they got right was the Fire Prevention and Control Act, which created the Firefighter Cancer Decontamination Grant Program, which helps us with some of the responsibilities by having a grant program to assist our firefighters. What they did wrong, I didn't like the Essential State Infrastructure Bill, SB 7018. With all of the things that I see pressing, I'm not sure why we are doing electrical vehicle charging stations on state highways. And I'm not sure why we needed to expand the shot clock and the deemed approved requirements for permit applications for every single utility in an easement. So that's what I would say they got right and they got wrong.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Apgar, your thoughts on Tallahassee this year? Oh, you're on mute, Mayor.
I apologize. I think on the good side, I would echo what's been said by several of my fellow mayors. We got a line item appropriation for some water quality projects in Spring Hill. And I think that all of us have kind of touched upon water. It's important to remember that West Volusia Utilities have been cooperating for a great number of years to work on water issues in West Volusia. And so I too would agree that, you know, the Water Quality Act was very, very important to Florida's future and for the future of West Volusia. On the bad side, as some of my colleagues have also referred to, I will just say it a little bit differently. Too many preemptions of home rule and too many unfunded mandates. And one bill that did not pass that I think we need to continue to watch was an amendment to the Burt Harris Private Property Act. What that amendment did, well, first of all, it will come back this year for the third time. So any bill that comes back multiple times as people grow in seniority, and it has an increased chance of passage. So it's something we really need to be careful about. But what it effectively does is, if there's a claim under Burt Harris, and the city and the party want to settle, the law would be such that that settlement would be tantamount to a zoning change for every other property in the community that's similarly situated. That term, similarly situated, is not defined in the bill. So what it'll do is promote litigation. We won't be able to settle with people because the facts of one situation or the driving force to settle may be totally different from the community-wide impact that settlement would have. So again, it didn't pass this year, but it'll be back for a third time, I'm told.
Thank you, Mayor. And we'll stay with you for our last question of the day. It's time to enter the West Volusia mayoral time machine. If you could go back 20 years and put an item on the city's agenda that would be adopted, what would that item be and why?
Well, interestingly enough, I think I'm the only one that can say I was mayor 20 years ago. So it's not wishful thinking. I think looking back, the one thing I would probably have done differently is I would have asked for more sustainability policies for our future, saving precious resources and doing things that cut maintenance costs, for example. We got in that business sometime later, but I think it like other things, we found ourselves behind the curve because sustainability for the long term for all of West Volusia, we've talked about water and other things, is so important to the viability of DeLand in West Volusia. The one other thing I might do is, Rob, you may smile on this a little bit, but there are probably a couple of things I would change in the Victoria Park PD agreement with the benefit of hindsight. I won't get into super specifics, but that would be my answer. And I live there too. But anyway, the primary thing is sustainability. Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor. Mayor Chavez.
Well, I guess that I would say because water issues and flooding issues have been so problematic for DeBary for many, many years, I wish that 20 years ago there would have been a resolution or of the council to look at drainage issues for the neighborhoods that they were building in this city of bowls and lakes, and have a more methodical approach over time so that we didn't get the horrible surprises of 2004, 2008 in Tropical Storm Irma. And I don't think that these issues were hidden at the time. Of course, as more neighborhoods were added, they became more apparent, but that's what I wish would have been done, a more methodical approach over time to build the infrastructure to handle stormwater runoff, given the nature of the topography in our city.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Hertzberg.
Great question. Since this year is our 25th anniversary, if I could go back to the incorporation of the city of Deltona, the one thing that I would ask of that inaugural commission is that they supply a dedicated funding source for our infrastructure and maintenance of that, meaning roads and water. And had the forethought been there to have a dedicated funding source, whether it's a TIF, whether it's anything like that, that some sort of a bond issue or anything that you would put out there, we would be a lot further ahead of the game in providing the infrastructure that we need now for those years that it was lacking. And then, as you know, with the economy, it's an ebb and flow. And if you have a dedicated funding source specifically earmarked for roads and water, I feel like the burden of that wouldn't be so heavily put on the residents that live here now.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Blair, if you could go back 20 years, what are you putting on the agenda?
The mayoral time machine, I like that. While I wasn't the mayor 20 years ago, I did serve on the city council at that time. Hindsight, 20/20 vision, is a proverb that means it is easy to understand something after it has happened. 20 years back, I wish I would have had the insight to suggest starting to rehabilitate our water system. The city had bought the system from a private concern that had been neglected. The bond at the time specified that it be paid off before spending any money on rehabilitation. Since then, we have made giant steps in recent years to bring our water system up to an acceptable condition by looping the entire city to eliminate the bacterial buildup and by replacing pipes where needed. We will continue to do so to make our water system better for our residents now as well as our future residents.
Thank you, Mayor. And wrapping up our Q&A session for today, it's your turn to step into the time machine, Mayor Raisler. And you're on mute.
Thank you very much. Well, the one thing looking back, and I was not on the commission 20 years ago, but forward thinking, had the college offered itself to come into Lake Helen, which is directly on 44, I would have definitely loved to see that on the agenda. I would believe that it would have opened the city up to the future that we are seeing today and all the possibilities that's happening in that area and in that neighborhood in the future. And I think it sounds really good, Lake Helen Daytona College, really. And then all the other businesses that would come with that growth in that area. So I feel that Lake Helen missed out on a little diamond of an opportunity there. I really want to thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you to all the mayors. This has been an event that the DeLand Chamber and Orange City Alliance has really loved putting on over the years. It's been my pleasure to host it for the last few. So thank you all so much for your time today, for your thoughtful consideration and your answers. I would like to thank again our presenting sponsors, Advent Health, Family Health Source, and my partners at Cobb Cole, as well as all of our other sponsors and all the staff here at the DeLand Chamber and Orange City Alliance to make this event possible. We hope, of all hopes, that we can be back in person for lunch next year for the 2021 State of the Region Address. Again, thank you all so much, and thanks to all of you who joined us today via Zoom.